What do you do when life takes everything from you? Welcome to the Daily Devo. I am Vince Miller. In our story, we now face a wake of unimaginable loss. David then seeks God's direction through an unexpected encounter with an Egyptian slave who was left for dead by the very enemy who burned their town and took their families. Thus, David finds a way, a path to victory. So let's look at our text today from 1 Samuel chapter 30, verses 16 down through 20. And when he, that is David, had taken him, that is the Egyptian slave, down, behold, they are the Amalekites, they spread abroad all over the land, eating and drinking and dancing because of the great spoil that they had taken from the land of the Philistines and from the land of Judah. That, of course, Judah is David. And David struck them down from twilight until the evening of the next day. And not a man of them escaped, except 400 young men who mounted camels and fled. So imagine that scene in your mind, if you can. David recovered all that the Amalekites had taken, and David rescued his two wives. Nothing was missing, whether small or great, sons or daughters, spoil or anything that had been taken. David brought back all. David also captured all the flocks and the herds, and the people drove the livestock before him and said, "This is David's spoil," or "This is David's extra." Loss has a way of leaving us feeling powerless, doesn't it? I mean, imagine standing in David's shoes just for a moment. You're surveying your burned home in Ziklag. Families are taken. All your possessions are gone. And right in this moment, your own men begin to turn on you in despair. I mean, just imagine that moment. Yet in the face of this distress, David did something extraordinary and yet so simple. He just sought God's direction. That was it. And the result? Well, a victory beyond imagination, beyond his wildest imagination, an incredible victory. Now, in this passage, we see how God used the most unexpected means, a forsaken, left for dead Egyptian slave, to lead David and his men right to their enemies. And they arrive at the scene of great indulgence, don't they? The Amalekites are feasting and celebrating and dancing around the stolen treasures of David and his men and many others. But their celebration didn't last long, did it? David and his men struck decisively, defeating the Amalekites and recovering everything. I mean, not a single family member was hurt or missing. No possessions, whether great or small, were restored. None was lost. God restored it all and then some. You saw there was extra here even. In the end, the people even declared this. This is David's spoil, his extra. And this is because God doesn't just restore. He restores with abundance in our lives. He restores with abundance. But this victory wasn't just David's doing. It was the providential hand of God because he sought him first. It was God's victory. It was the same God who restores and redeems every single time and provides in abundance in the middle of distress and destitution. You know, if you're feeling distressed today, whether it be a loss or a heartache or an uncertainty in your life, I want you to take heart. Take heart today. You may feel like you're looking at a valley of despair, a valley that has been burned before you, where everything feels taken. But I want you to know the God we worship is a God who redeems and restores in abundance. So trust him. Seek his direction, like David did. Take steps of obedience, and in time, well, you too might witness a path to victory, overflowing with God's rich abundance. I love you guys. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, share it with someone else, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.